So I was eligible. Turned it in to my battalion commander, who was Colonel Theodore Bilbo. His father was a senator from Mississippi. I turned it in. In 4 hours it came back. Disapproved. And signed the colonel's name. That night, I went to sleep in the assumption that I am sleeping in my apartment house in New York City. I didn't go through the door. I didn't go through the window. I put myself on the bed. I went right into my home that I knew so well. But I conditioned it. I could be there on furlough, a 2-week furlough. I didn't want that. I wanted to be there honorably discharged. Not dishonorably, honorably discharged, and a civilian in this country. So I slept in that assumption. At 4:15 in the morning, here came before my inner eye a piece of paper, not unlike the one that I had signed that day. On the bottom of it was disapproved. Then came a hand from here down, holding a pen. And then the voice said to me, "That which I have done, I have done. Do nothing." It scratched out disapproved and wrote in big bold script, approved. And then I woke. I did nothing. 9 days later, that same colonel called me in to close the door, Goddard. Yes, sir. He said, "You still want to get into the Army?" I said, "Yes, sir." He said, "You're the best dressed man in this country, wears the uniform of America?" I said, "Yes, sir." "You still want to get into the Army?" "Yes, sir." Yes, him to death as I sat before him. He said, "All right, make out another application and you'll be out of the Army today." Went back to my captain, told him what the colonel had said, made out another application, and he signed it, and that day I was out of the Army, honorably discharged. That's all that I did. I went right into my home as a discharged soldier of our Army, and I'm a civilian. I slept that night in my home in New York City, though physically my body was in Camp Polk, Louisiana. That's how it works. There is a state. I entered the state and fertilized it. No one was hurt. And the colonel, when I went through the door that evening, he came forward and said, "Well, good luck, Goddard. I will see you in New York City after we have won this war." I said, "Yes, sir." And that was it. I share this with you to tell you how it works. This is not good and that is wrong. We're living in a world of infinite possibilities. You become discreet. You become selective. You know what you want. You hurt no one. But you must turn to God. And God is your own wonderful human imagination. Choose this day whom you will serve. And they answered, "We choose the Lord." You are witnesses against yourself that you have chosen the Lord. We are witnesses against ourselves. For the Lord's only name is I am. Well, who was actually assuming that he was in his own apartment 2,000 miles away? I am. I am assuming I am where physically I am not. But the reality of me is not this. The reality of the speaker is his imagination. And I must be where I am in imagination. So the body was in Camp Polk. The reality of me was in that apartment of mine in New York City. You could take this story and multiply it thousands of times. But here, while you are here, I would like to make it so clear that you and you alone are responsible for your own selection. I can teach you the law, That's the law in the nutshell, what I've just told you. But I cannot get behind you and say, no, not that. Take this. I can't guide your ship. I must leave you to your choice and warn you it carries a risk unless you take your wonderful code and surround it. Take your choice and make it fit your lovely moral and ethical code. You will not have to compromise.